Test, test.
It's now 6:30. I'd like to call to order the Regional Planning Commission business meeting for Thursday, April the 13th. And as customary, we'll start with the pledge, and I've asked Mr. Davis, please lead us in the pledge. Thank you, Mr. Davis, and it's good to see you back here in person.
Thank you, sir.
I hope your wife gets better, and I hope she improves all the time.
Thank you.
Sir, I'll now come to you for the roll call and determination of quorum.
Commissioner Peterman?
Here.
Commissioner Servon?
Present.
Commissioner Karcher? Absent. Commissioner Galvry?
Here.
Commissioner Mills?
Yes, here.
Commissioner Davis?
Here.
Commissioner Jester?
Here.
So you have 6 present, you do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Before you tonight, you also have the revised agenda, and I would like to ask for a motion to accept it if there isn't any changes.
Motion to accept.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Call the commission.
Commissioner Peterman?
Yes.
Commissioner Servon?
Yes.
Commissioner Galvry?
Yes.
Commissioner Mills?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Jester?
Yes.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of approving tonight's agenda.
Thank you again. Also before you tonight, commissioners, you have the minutes for February 9th, 2023. Hope you've all had a chance to read through it. If there's no additions or deletions, I entertain a motion to accept.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Commissioner Peterman?
Yes to vote.
Commissioner Servon?
Yes.
Commissioner Galvry?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Mills?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Jester?
Yes.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of approving the minutes of February 9th.
Next on the agenda, you'll see the levy court action from the commission recommendations. They pretty much went along with us, but if you have any questions, please contact staff after the meeting. We'll now get down into new business. First under new business tonight is CZ 23-02, LC 23-03, 2 farms. Request to amend the zoning map from AR Agriculture Residential, Low Density Residential to BG, General Business, located inside the Growth Zone Overlay District. They did a fine presentation last week. There wasn't really any opposition, so I'll put it to the commissioners. Anybody like to make a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Mills?
CZ-23-02, LC 23-03, 2 farms. I move the Regional Planning Commission recommend approval of the ordinance LC 2303 to amend the zoning map from AR Agriculture Residential's low density residential to BG General Business located inside the Growth Zone Overlay District. This is based on Exhibit A, staff recommendations reported dated April the 6th, 2023. Exhibit B, public hearing testimony dated April the 6th, 2023, and the findings of the facts that A, the character of the neighborhood has changed to such an extent that the zoning map should be changed. B, while the proposed zoning district does not comply with future land use maps or land use strategy map of 218 comprehensive plan, the plan does provide that the character of the surrounding area should hold equal weight in evaluating rezoning requests. C, there will be compatibility between the use of the property as reclassified and the surrounding land use that would promote the health, safety, and welfare of the present and future residents of the county. D, infrastructure existence and/or available to serve future development of the site.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Commissioner Peterman?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Servan?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Galvery?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Mills?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Jester?
Yes to approve.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of recommending approval of ordinance LC 2303.
Thank you all very much, and good luck with your project. Next on the agenda tonight, we have CZ-23-03, LC-23-05, K Temple LLC. Request to amend the zoning map from BN Neighborhood Business Neighborhood Commercial to RMH Residential Manufactured Home, medium density residential located inside the growth zone overlay district. I don't believe we had any opposition last week, and that he did a great presentation. I will now turn it over to the commissioners. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Garvey.
I move that the Regional Planning Commission recommended approval of the ordinance LC 23-05 to amend the zoning map from BN Neighborhood Business Neighborhood Commercial to RMH Residential Manufacturing Home, medium density residential located inside the growth zone overlay district. This is based on Exhibit A, a staff recommendation report dated April 6, 2023. Exhibit B, public hearing testimony dated April 6, 2023, and the finding of the fact that A, the 2018 Comprehensive Plan Land Use Strategy Map C-7-C reflects a long-term development strategy designating this area for future residential development. B, while many of the lots fronting Route 13 are zoned commercial, they remain in residential use. C, there will be compatibility between the use of the property as reclassified and the surrounding land uses that will promote the health, safety, and welfare of the present and future residents of the county.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Commissioner Peterman?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Servan?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Galvery?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Mills?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Jester?
Yes to approve.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of recommending approval of ordinance LC 2305.
Thank you, and good luck with your project. Next tonight, we have LC 23-04 zoning. An ordinance to amend Kent County Code Volume 2, Chapter 205, zoning as amended by revising a number of issues, and the book that is sitting in front of me without reading the whole works. I have been asked to open it up. So, Mr. Davis, I think you have something you'd like to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I guess I do have a question of council. Since the Planning Commission only makes a recommendation, it's not a final vote whether it goes through or doesn't go through. Is it permissible to make an amendment for a suggestion to send to the court?
An amendment to what exactly?
A couple words within a section of the zoning. They
Well,
change.
My suggestion is that someone should make a motion, any motion, and then we'll take a pause and amendments could be considered at that time. Of course, I mean, if you want to write to the levy court commissioners with an idea, of course, that would be part of the record. But if you want to do something formal, let's get a motion on the table first, and then amendments could be considered as we work our way back to the motion.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, based upon the legal advice, I do have a couple amendments that I would like to do at the proper time.
I do have a question, Craig. So what you're saying is to have a motion to do this and then don't have a second before we go through it, or do have a second and go through the motion and then make the amendments? How do we do it?
Yeah, I would have a motion and a second. Then you have something on the floor that is subject to amendment. You know, if someone made a motion and it wasn't seconded, then it fails and there's nothing to amend.
Okay, so in other words, we'd be reading the motion as designated, and it would be seconded, and then we could amend it after it was on the floor before we vote on to pass it. Does everybody understand that?
Yes, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Very good. So is there someone here who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Servon.
I move that the Regional Planning Commission recommend approval of ordinance LC 23-04, zoning including Amendment 1, clarifying that roadside stands must comply with Kent County's area, bulk, and parking regulations. Amendment 2, clarifying that the definition of billboards. Amendment 3, removing language giving the Regional Planning Commission and Levy Court the ability to waive conditions for conditional use applications. And Amendment 4, clarifying the distinction between zoning districts inside the growth zone overlay district and those outside. This is based on Exhibit A, memorandum from staff dated March 28th, 2023. Exhibit B, public hearing testimony dated April 6th, 2023. Exhibit C, memorandum from staff dated April 5th, 2023, and the findings of fact that A, the ordinance reorganizes and simplifies Chapter 205 to make it easier for the public and for the staff. B, the ordinance modernizes use categories. C, the ordinance will make it easier to do business in the county.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I think now we have the abilities to, Mr. Davis wants to speak, correct?
Certainly.
Mr. Davis, go ahead with what you would like to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm making reference this evening into Section 205-34 regarding keeping of poultry, pigeons, ducks, and similar animals. Subsection A that goes through number 1 through 7. I've also contacted the Department of Ag about this particular issue. The remaining part, I don't have a problem with. I just have a concern about a couple of things that I'm going to make an amendment to. You do have to, whether you have 5 chickens or 25 chickens or whatever it may be, you do have to be required to fill out an application for the Department of Ag. And that's for the purpose, if the avian flu should spread, it gives them the ability to contact these people who have these chickens, backyard chickens, as it's referred to. I have all the documentation here from the Department of Natural Resources, and it was signed by the state veterinarian, Heather Hurst, in January 2022. At this time, I'm going to make an amendment to be as follows. Regarding 205-34, I'll make an amendment that LC 23-04, zoning section 205-34A2, is to delete 5 and add 25. The question I have of legal counsel, I have 2 amendments. Should we do one and vote on it and go to the next one? Is that proper, or both?
That's entirely up to you.
Okay.
Just in my own mind here, I'm calling this Amendment 5 because we have 4 amendments that are already in the motion.
Okay.
So your Amendment 5, sir, could be all of the things you're thinking about.
Okay.
Or you could stop where you are now, and other ideas could be 6 and 7. That's up to you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Now, my understanding is also after he makes these, he has to have a second on his amendments to be accepted, and then we vote on that separately?
Absolutely. Yes.
That's correct. Okay, Mr. Davis, I assume you want to go ahead and just make them all number 5.
Yeah, I've only have one more, so I think I'll just go ahead and do that. Number 2 amendment on section 205-34, my amendment is to add line number 8 to read in 205-34A, no keeping of poultry, pigeons, ducks, and similar animals in a major subdivision. End of the amendment.
I now have an amendment on the floor, so I'll be looking for a second on the amendment, and then we'll just be voting on the amendment separately before we go into the zoning itself.
Correct.
if adopted. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Does anybody need the amendments reread, or do they understand it's going from 5 to 25, and there would be no poultry in any of the major subdivisions? So,
I have a question.
Mr. Peterman.
Vote for this amendment. Does that negate what's here before us tonight? Will that amend that from 5 to 25?
Yes.
And that would be the motion to make it 25 instead of 5?
And to prohibit in subdivisions. But elsewhere, yes, it would be 25, not 5.
Okay.
If this particular amendment is,
Except would that still be on 15,000 square foot? You could add 25 there?
yeah, that's unchanged.
Okay.
Are you clear, Mr. Peterman?
Yes, thank you.
I have an amendment.
Question.
Okay.
Can we clear up the major and minor subdivisions? He's stating in there, and I
He
second.
didn't say anything about minors. He just said major subdivisions.
So that's, go ahead. The major subdivision is how many out?
Do we have a definition of that? How many houses in a major?
No, it's the distinguishing factor is that only 5 are permitted with a minor, although there are some exemptions that allow more than 5.
Okay, that's good enough. Thank you.
Is everybody okay and understand, Mr. Servon?
And this would include dogs?
Dogs are separate. This is only for poultry.
This is a chicken amendment.
Yeah, this is the one that has poultry, pigeons, ducks, and similar animals. The ones that mess on you or get in your feet when you walk through the grass. We have an amendment. Sarah, I guess you're going to call the commission on the amendment to be added as number 5 to the 4 that we already have.
Mr. Peterman?
Before I tell what I vote, I'd like to make a comment. I've had a lot of calls this week. A lot of them was good. Some was for, and some was against. Today, I had a lot of against. That's between Hazelville and Marydale, the Hartley area, and Marydale and Wyoming. They don't want no barnyard chickens there because one of them in that area had to be left out of flock for a long period of time, and they didn't have avian influenza, but they contacted somebody that did. The other thing is they said they can't afford to be out because of the cost of the property and taxes and income. So I like Paul's amendment, but because of the conversations that I had today, I got to vote no. And I think Paul did a very good job on that, too. I know that, and I appreciate Paul's attitude.
Commissioner Servon?
I vote yes.
Commissioner Godfrey?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Mills?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Jester?
Yeah, I too have had a lot of calls on this, just like everybody else. I don't see that much difference in 5 and 25, so I'm going to vote for the amendment.
So you have 5 yeas, 1 nay in favor of recommending to the Levy Court Amendment Number 5.
We now go to the zoning, which the motion has already been read in place. The motion now includes 5 amendments, along with the motion that you saw here and the facts that we had in the book for the changes. Is there any questions on that before we move forward?
We're going to vote now.
Go on the mic so we can hear you.
Okay, we're going to vote now for the original.
We're going to vote for the original, but with 5 amendments and not 4.
As amended, yes.
That's correct.
That's amendment, correct.
Is everybody good on that? Correct? Understood? Okay, go ahead.
Commissioner Peterman?
I vote yes for the original.
Commissioner Servon,
I vote yes per the motion.
Commissioner Galvary,
Yes, per motion.
Commissioner Mills,
Yes, per motion.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes, for motion with the amendments.
Commissioner Jester.
Yes, per all reasons given.
Sir, you have 6 yeas in favor of recommending approval of LC 2304 as amended.
We now have on the agenda tonight, which I asked to be there, we had talked a couple of months ago about moving our time of meeting to 6 p.m., 1800 hours. I've also thought about this and looked it over, and if the commission wouldn't also, I think starting it in September would give staff long enough time to get the numbers together, because we're always off the month of August, and that would give us a couple more months to have it on the same agenda we have now, so that all the contractors and everybody knows what they're doing. But the ones coming in place after September, what I'm recommending, I can't make a motion in my position, but what I'm recommending to this commission is that we have our meetings beginning September at 6 o'clock instead of 6:30, and it'll be got out for everybody. Do we have any discussion on that?
No.
Mr. Servon?
Is this going to be a permanent change?
That's correct. And the reason I said that was we looked at staff. They're sitting around here, and they're very important people. They have things too. They might have dogs home. They have to get home a little quicker. So we figure that putting the time back to 6 o'clock is more efficient, saves county tax dollars by not having to pay the overtime that we would by staying later at night. Are we all good? I entertain a motion to do that.
I support that because I do know the staff, particularly in wintertime, the roads are bad. They're obligated to be here. So the sooner everybody gets out and goes home safely, I support it 100%. And I'll make a motion effective, September? September, that our meetings would be at 6 p.m.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Sarah, call the commission.
Commissioner Peterman,
Yes, to approve.
Commissioner Servon,
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Galvary,
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Mills,
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Jester.
Yes to approve.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of implementing the time change in September.
Thank you, commissioners. I think it'll be more to everybody's advantage. I now look out and see at least a couple public here. Does any of the public have any comments, would like to come to the microphone to say anything? No? Okay, we'll go down to additional commissioner comments. Oh, you do have one? You can't say anything, ma'am, till you come to the microphone. Hey, if we have to be in front of these microphones, the public does too. I assume, Mr. Lyson, does she have to be sworn in and just give comments?
No.
Go right ahead with your comments.
Okay, well-
If you want to give us your name, you can do that.
Sure, it's Diane Monaco, and I live at 644 Artist Drive. I was just wondering, I have the original, a copy of it was printed out for me. I don't have it with me, but we were unable to make the meeting, the last meeting, so we don't know what a lot of this is that was changed.
Is the changes actually show up online?
We don't have the internet.
Oh, you don't have internet?
No.
Is there some way,
was-
can they get one of these?
It was given to her.
Someone at Levy Court was kind enough to print a copy of this for me, and I have the old copy at home, but I don't have the new changes.
Yeah, the new one is much more efficient, up to date, and you'll see some of the abbreviations has changed. Talk to Sarah down there. She'll be able to take care of you on your request, and we certainly appreciate your interest.
Right, but I did have a question. As far as the amount, I know the chickens, and that was a great thing. We do not have chickens, but it was just in case maybe we wanted to get some backyard chickens, that was a concern. But it was the amount of other animals on the property. Now, we have a half acre, and to some, that doesn't seem like a lot. But actually, it's a half an acre of land, and it is agriculture conservation. Now, my question is, what exactly is agriculture conservation now? What does they say?
And that's a specific zoning district that has uses permitted in it and has specific area and bulk regulations associated with it.
Is it the same as it was before?
The
Or has it
uses, I mean, several uses have changed, or in general, the uses permitted there, many of them have become permitted by right, rather than through conditional use, requiring a public hearing. Area and bulk regulations, that would be your setbacks or minimum lot size, things like that. In general, they've become more liberal. We've changed them to lessen the setbacks, increase impervious cover, and in some cases, we've changed lot size depending on whether
Okay.
you're inside or outside the growth zone.
The best thing for you to do, young lady, would be probably to write your questions down and come in someday down there to the planning. And if you had the abilities to come there, or call them on the phone. Their phone is listed on.
We were in there with the one prior to the meeting, and we had all intentions of being there, but there was a bad storm that night, and we could not make
There
it.
sure was. It was very
Because-
bad in here, too.
Because we do have a four-legged son who is having a bad issue right now because of that storm.
Understood.
Yeah.
But if you want to get them thoroughly answered, you'd be better to come in person and come to, the staff can address them, they can give you copies, whatever.
We actually thought that they were, but now we've noticed that I see that there are changes, and I'm wondering exactly what they are. Because I was told that the setbacks would remain in place, because the setbacks that were put there in 1967 when it was, that's how old, how long it's been there. It's not a subdivision, it's just a piece of land.
Understood.
And it said that the setbacks would stay the same now. Is that in this book?
If you're talking about a specific parcel, the chairman is correct. We should discuss this during business hours, not in the middle of a meeting.
Yeah, one of the biggest changes also that farms used to only be 10 acres or more. Now, if you make over $1,000 on selling produce or something off that parcel, it can actually be called a farm, and that's the same thing that the Department of Agriculture recognizes also.
Okay.
And the federal people when you pay your taxes. So it's kind of a domino effect down the line. But I certainly recommend, instead of you trying to go through everything and whatever has to happen, and we certainly appreciate you coming tonight and coming to the microphone.
Well, there was also an issue about the amount of, not just chickens, but the amount of animals on the property.
That's correct, and all those things can be answered at the desk.
Right.
Because if we try to make them through them, you can see what we looked at.
Right, I see that.
And a lot of it's been crossed out and modified and eliminated and updated. So instead of going through all those issues and, whatever tonight, I highly suggest you just come. They have a wonderful staff, and they'll be very glad and helpful to you.
Oh, I've dealt with their staff. I have, believe me, I've dealt
Very
with their
good.
staff.
Very good.
The last staff member that I dealt with was very, very pleasant and very, very kind, thank you. He really was.
Love to hear
I have
that.
to say, he was. It's just, yeah.
Oh, it's mind-boggling to us, too, because unless you address them each one separately or spend 20-some hours in this book like I have since
Yeah,
February.
it is.
It's very, so
It
thank
really
you
is.
again. We appreciate your
Yes.
time, and be glad to come to the staff, and they'll
Thank you
answer
so
your
much.
questions.
Yeah, and no disrespect to anyone, but my question was, it is, and I know she's saying to come in and talk with someone.
Exactly.
But my question is, they're saying you can only have 4 dogs or cats or whatever on your property?
Once again, address it to them, and you can come in and have it answered. You want to
Yeah.
answer that one?
That is the rule today, and it will continue to be the rule with the new code.
It's the rule, it was the rule
It is
in
the rule
past
right
as well?
now,
Okay.
yes,
Okay,
and it will remain.
okay.
That doesn't mean, two things I just want to say is you have a copy of the old one. And if you do get a copy of this one, which Sarah is going to, you have a copy of this one?
I have
Okay.
a copy of the one where everything was deleted.
That's
But I do not have the copy of the one with all of this. Now, this looks like the levy court went through and amended this, that, the other. and
There's just a
everything.
few
Is that what
amendments
this is?
that
We had a very big meeting one night. It lasted a number of hours. Since that time, they were modified and amended. And like I said, I certainly appreciate you coming to the mic, because the public interest is what we're here to satisfy.
Okay, and I wish I would have been here on the 6th, believe me, I do, because I would have actually said a couple other things, because we're the ones who have the mortgages, we're the ones who pay the taxes, we're the ones who do this, and we're the ones who do that. And
Yeah,
my
you
thing
could-
would have been, who gives everybody the right to tell us what we can and cannot do with our property?
Remember, each district has a levy court commissioner, of which there's 2 in the back of the room tonight. And I'd love to point them out too, but I don't know who your commissioner might be from where you live. But
I do.
remember, talk directly to them, because they're your direct line to us and all other people in the building.
Right, well, I spoke to him back in November, and I'm still awaiting a call from him as well.
Very good.
I just want to point out that this is a fluid document and that it's not etched in stone. And so there's aspects in this that I'm sure don't appeal to everybody, but there is, as our chairman said, there is a path to get those changed. It starts with your commissioner. But when there's enough people that are in dissatisfaction with something and it gets enough attention, then they can look at it and decide whether they're going to change it or not. If they put that forth, then it comes to us and we vote that in, then you've got your change. But it's a fluid document, so it's not really being shoved down anybody's throats. We require public participation in order to get it right. So it's as right as we can make it with that participation that we've received and the wisdom of the other people that have been down this road before.
I appreciate that, sir.
Yeah, it just needed something that needed updated, because it hadn't been updated for years.
And
I think-
our approval tonight is a recommendation to the levy court commissioners to vote on it and formally approve it, yes.
It's going to go to the levy court, and then they'll formally...
They'll vote to formally approve it.
Their meeting for this will be when, Sarah?
25th?
April 25.
Put that on your calendars. Mr. Davis?
I have just a general question with the, I guess the state changed the, being a farm, 10 acres or more, as long as you produced $1,000 per year. I guess my question is, what effect, if any, or has there been any discussion with people like myself that own 55 acres, which is a hunting club, and I'm in the 10-year ag land conservation program that was designated as a farm. Did that ever come up? Because I'm a little concerned now that they say, well, you're not a farm according to the state law or the county. So that kind of got me a little concerned, because I'm in that 10-year program and we pay no taxes except buildings. The land is tax-free. So I'm a little concerned. I don't know if you have that answer or not.
And the code as it's drafted follows the state law. So if you're concerned you don't fit within the state law, we can certainly have future discussions about what the county should do.
So who do I talk to?
And we can talk offline.
So you don't know the answer?
No, I'm telling you the code matches what state law says.
I know, but you haven't answered my question. The question is, if I have 55 acres, which I do, down Milford Neck, and I'm in the 10-year program, and it's been rated as a farm, and you had to have 10 acres to get into it. Now it's no longer considered a farm because I don't produce $1,000 a year. It's for the wildlife. So that's the question I guess I have.
I don't know that that's relevant in terms of zoning. That's more relevant. The question is more relevant when it comes to building permits and whether you'd be able to get an ag building permit or a typical building permit for an accessory structure. But again, we have to rely on what's in the ordinance, and the ordinance effectively mirrors state law that it's $1,000 or you file a Schedule F.
And I think he got into the program before this changed. So that actually says that when you got into it, it was perfectly all right, and that extends through to the plan it ends. But I don't think it'll have any bearing on what you're doing.
Yeah, I didn't know whether, I would hope I'd be grandfathered in, but I don't produce $1,000 a year.
Now, in terms of zoning and the zoning ordinance, I don't think you're impacted.
Okay, thank you very much.
Does any other commissioners have anything they'd like to say? Sarah, you got that look like you want to say something. You're ready to go home, aren't you? Seeing no other comments at all, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Commissioner Peterman? Commissioner Peterman?
Yes,
Commissioner Servan?
Yes to adjourn.
Commissioner Galvery,
Yes to adjourn.
Commissioner Mills,
Yes to approve.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes to adjourn.
Commissioner Jester.
Yes to adjourn. Thank you all, and once again, thank you for your comments at the mic.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. And honestly, I meant no disrespect to anyone by saying what I did, but, you know.